48 miles beyond the last plowed road, a wood stove is not decoration. It is a heartbeat. And when Lena Ward's stove split open during the worst nor'easter northern Maine had seen in years, the only thing left between her and a frozen room was the mistake everyone told her to tear out. A wall, not insulation, not a furnace, a wall of stolen heat. The cabin stood at the end of an old paper company track in the Allagash country, where the spruce grew tight enough to swallow sound and the sky seemed lower in winter. It had been built sometime in the 1970s by a guide who never bothered with comfort if rough lumber would do. Cedar siding, a sagging porch, a tin roof patched in 3 different colors, one downstairs room, one sleeping loft, and a little lean-to kitchen that leaned harder every time the wind came in from Quebec. For Lena Ward, it was not supposed to be home. It was supposed to be distance. 6 months earlier, she had still been in Boston, drawing clean elevations for luxury renovations she could no longer afford to look at. Her business partner, who was also her fiancé, had drained their shared accounts, signed contracts in her name, and left her holding invoices she did not recognize. The lawyers called it a civil matter. The bank called it unfortunate. Lena called it being skinned alive in a room full of polite people. So she sold what little she had left, her half of a storage unit, her drafting table, a vintage watch from her father. Then she bought the one property cheap enough to close in cash, a neglected off-grid camp with no cell service, a hand pump that coughed rusty water, and one black cast iron stove sitting on a crooked hearth. The stove was an old yotel, squat and heavy, with chipped enamel and a flue collar that had been patched more than once. It looked stubborn enough to survive anything. Behind it, though, the wall was ugly and dangerous. Dry pine boards, brown from age, close enough to the stove that even Lena knew something had to change. She should have put up cement board. She should have hung sheet metal with an air gap, the way any practical person in the North Woods would have done. But Lena had not come north to be practical. She had come north because rage needed work. 3 miles from the cabin, half buried in alder and snowberry, was the foundation of an abandoned slate shed from an old quarry camp. The roof was gone, the beams had rotted into moss, but the ground was littered with thick slabs of blue-gray slate and dark pieces of granite, split clean by men who had died before Lena was born. Every morning for most of October, she drove her rusted Tacoma down the washed-out track, backed up to the ruins, and loaded stone until the truck springs groaned. The slabs were cold enough to burn her fingers through gloves. They cut her knuckles, bruised her thighs, tore holes in her jacket. But the work had a mercy in it. Stone did not lie. Stone did not move money behind your back. Stone did not promise forever and leave you to explain the debt. A stone was just heavy, and if you could lift it, you knew exactly what you had carried. She brought the slate home and began building behind the stove. Not a thin heat shield, a wall, 6 feet wide, 8.5 feet tall, nearly 16 inches thick in places, because she did not know when to stop and because stopping felt too much like losing. She mixed mortar in a plastic tub with a garden hoe. She set the flattest slabs along the bottom and stacked the darker granite into the shoulders. She wanted it to look like the old quarry had pushed through the cabin wall and claimed the room. That was how Elias Bouchard found her. Elias lived 9 miles away if the roads were clear, and forever away if they were not. He was 70, maybe older, with hands like split cedar and a face weathered into permanent suspicion. He had come to deliver 2 cords of maple and yellow birch, and he stood in the open doorway watching Lena muscle a slab into wet mortar. You building a fireplace or a headstone? He asked. Lena did not look up. A heat shield? That is not a heat shield. It keeps the boards from catching fire. So does a sheet of steel. She pressed the stone into place and tapped it with the heel of her hand. Elias stepped closer, squinting at the black yotel. That stove throws heat. You put 16 inches of cold rock behind it, and the first thing it's going to warm is the wall, not you. It's better than pine boards. It's prettier than pine boards, he said. Better is not the same thing. Lena almost laughed, but there was no humor in it. Pretty had been the last thing she could still control. The wall was not really for the stove. It was for her. It was for every document she wished she had read sooner, every smile she had trusted too long, every person who had told her to calm down while her life disappeared in signatures. She was making something no one could talk through, so she kept stacking. Elias shook his head. Cold up here does not care what looks right. Cold only cares what works. By the end of October, the wall stood finished behind the stove like a cliff inside the cabin. Blue slate, black granite, pale mortar scars, rough enough to catch shadows, solid enough to feel older than the room around it. Lena washed it with a bucket and brush until the stone darkened, then built her first serious fire. The stove came alive slowly. First the soft flutter of newspaper, then kindling popping, then the maple taking flame with a low, steady roar. Lena sat on the floor, back against a cardboard box, drinking burnt coffee from a chipped mug. The cabin stayed cold longer than she expected. Her nose ran. Her socks stayed damp. For 2 hours, the thermometer barely moved. Elias had been right. The wall was stealing heat. But near midnight, the room changed. Not fast, not like forced air. It deepened. The cold lifted out of the floorboards. The windows stopped sweating frost along the edges. The air around the stove became soft and still, as if the whole cabin had exhaled. Before climbing into the loft, Lena put her palm against the slate. She pulled it back with a gasp. The stone was hot, not warm. Hot in a deep, buried way, like a parking lot after a July sun. She pressed both hands against it and felt the heat coming not from the surface, but from inside the wall itself. "You greedy thing," she whispered, and for the first time since Boston, she smiled. What she did not understand was that she had built a battery, a crude one, a beautiful, heavy, accidental one. The slate and granite were drinking the stove's heat, storing it deep in their mass, then bleeding it back into the cabin long after the fire fell low. By November, Lena had built her days around it. Wake before dawn under 3 blankets. Climb down the ladder while the cabin bit at her bare face. Scrape ashes, split kindling, feed the stove, pump water before the handle froze. Cook oatmeal in a black pot on the stovetop. Repair one rotten thing before another gave way. The outside world shrank to a battery radio, a county plow report she could barely hear, and Elias calling every few days on the landline to ask if she had done something foolish yet. Usually she had, but she was learning. She learned that birch flashed hot and bright, while maple settled in for the long burn. She learned to bank coals at night. She learned to thaw the pump handle with her breath and to keep a path shoveled to the woodpile even when she did not want to. And she learned the wall's rhythm. If she ran the stove hard through the evening, the stone would carry her through the thin hours before dawn. The yotel could be dark by 4 a.m., but the slate behind it still held a stubborn warmth. Lena would stand with her back pressed to it, eyes half closed, letting the heat find the sore places in her shoulders. By December, she had stopped calling it a mistake. Then, one cold morning, she opened the stove doors and saw the line. It was on the rear plate, just under the flue collar, a hair-thin crack, black against the soot, only a few inches long. At first she thought it was a scrape. Then she ran the tip of the ash shovel across it, and the metal caught. Her stomach tightened. Cast iron was supposed to be permanent. It was supposed to be the reliable thing in the room. But the more she looked, the less she could pretend. The stove was hurt. She called Elias. The line crackled for nearly a minute before his voice came through. How wide? Not wide, Lena said. Like a hair. Does smoke come through? No. Does it change when hot? I don't know. Then keep your fires small until I can get there. When can you get here? A silence. The answer was already in it. Road's bad. My truck won't make that grade until it freezes harder, or the plow comes back. Don't overfire it, Lena. She stared at the stove. That's my heat. No, Elias said. That is your last working stove. Treat it like one. So she did. For a while. She built smaller fires, let the room stay cooler, stopped loading the stove full at night. The wall no longer charged the way it had in November. By morning, the stone was barely warm, and Lena woke with her teeth pressed tight enough to ache. But the crack did not grow. Not at first. On December 19th, the radio screamed. The sound tore through the cabin so suddenly that Lena dropped a saucepan into the sink. The voice underneath the static was flat and official. A major winter storm was strengthening over the Gulf of Maine and tracking northwest into the interior. Blizzard conditions expected. Wind gusts 60 to 70 miles per hour. Temperatures falling below zero. Wind chills between 45 and 55 below. Travel impossible. Power outages likely. Exposure may become fatal within minutes. The word seemed too large for the little room. Fatal within minutes. The landline rang half an hour later. Elias did not say hello. You heard it. I heard it. Fill everything with water. Tub, buckets, stock pots. If the pump freezes, you will not get it back until the thaw. I have wood. Bring it inside now. I have food. Food won't matter if that stove quits. Lena looked toward the yodel. The crack was hidden in shadow, but she could feel it in the room like a second weather report. Elias? He heard what she had not said. That backplate still cracked? It's the same. Listen to me. You run it steady. Not wild, steady. If you let that cabin drop, you may not get it back. But do not open that draft and turn that stove into a forge. What if steady isn't enough? Static washed over the line. Then Elias said, very quietly, then the storm gets a vote. The line went dead before she could answer. By dusk, the trees were already moving wrong, not swaying, jerking. The first bands of snow came sideways through the spruce, dry and hard, hissing against the windows like thrown sand. Lena stacked wood along the inside wall until it reached her hip. She filled every pot she owned. She shoved towels into the worst drafts and hung a quilt over the kitchen doorway. Then she knelt behind the stove with a flashlight. The crack was still there, thin, patient, waiting. The storm hit after midnight, like something alive had found the cabin. The whole structure shuddered. Snow blew under the porch door in white dust. The stovepipe moaned. Somewhere outside, a branch snapped with the sharp report of a rifle. By dawn, the world beyond the windows had vanished. There was no tree line, no road, no porch rail. Only white movement and the dark blur of glass frosting over from the inside. The cabin temperature slid to 42, even with the stove burning. Lena added maple. The needle on the stovepipe thermometer climbed. 300. 400. The yotel began to throw the kind of heat that made the air ripple. The wall drank it. All morning, Lena fed the stove and watched the crack. Every hour, she crouched with her flashlight and checked the rear plate. The line was no longer hair-thin. Heat had opened it. The black seam had lengthened across the cast iron, jagged now, like a frozen river seen from above. At noon, the indoor thermometer read 38. Impossible. She was standing in front of a roaring stove and losing. The cold was coming through every seam, every knothole, every old window track. It was pulling heat out of the cabin faster than the fire could build it. Lena's hands shook when she carried wood. Her eyelids felt gritty. She had not slept. She had not eaten anything but crackers. At 2:17 p.m., she made the choice Elias had warned her not to make. She opened the draft. All the way. The stove answered like an animal taking breath. The fire brightened from orange to white at the base. The pipe thermometer passed 500, then 550. The enamel on the stove gave off a hot, metallic smell. Lena stood back, sweating under wool while frost grew on the window beside her. Behind the stove, the slate wall became too hot to touch. For 40 minutes, it worked. The room climbed to 44, then 46. Lena laughed once, a cracked, ugly sound. And then the stove exploded. Not outward, not into pieces, but the backplate split with the sound of a shotgun fired inside the cabin. Lena dropped to the floor before she understood she had moved. The stove screamed, a high, metal tearing sound, and smoke burst from behind it in a thick yellow sheet. God, no. She crawled backward, coughing. Through the smoke, she saw the break. The crack had opened into a glowing mouth across the rear casting. Flame pushed out toward the stone. Embers spilled down into the gap behind the stove, hissing onto the hearth. The slate was saving the wall from fire. But the stove was no longer a stove. It was a broken iron box full of burning wood. If she left it, the cabin could burn. If she killed it, she could freeze. For one terrible second, Lena did nothing. That was the moment the cold won a little ground inside her. Then a coal dropped from the ruptured backplate and rolled toward the edge of the hearth. She moved. She jammed on leather welding gloves, wrapped a scarf over her mouth, and opened the front doors. The heat struck her face so hard she staggered. Inside the firebox, the maple was fully engaged, bright and furious. She could not throw water on it. The cast iron was already failing, and she knew enough to fear steam, shrapnel, and a room full of boiling ash. So she took the ash shovel. 1 scoop. Burning wood. 4 steps to the door. Kick it open. Whiteout. Throw. The storm hit her chest like a body. Snow whipped through the doorway and vanished instantly into steam around the coals. Lena slammed the door and went back. Again. Scoop, turn, kick, throw. Again. The room filled with smoke. Her eyes streamed. Her lungs burned. Her gloves smoked at the fingertips. Every time she opened the door, the storm reached farther into the cabin and tore another layer of warmth away. By the 6th trip, she was sobbing without sound. By the 9th, the firebox was empty except for a bed of coals glowing under ash. She shoveled those into a steel bucket, carried them to the door, and flung them into the dark. Then she shut the door and fell against it, shaking. The stove clicked as it cooled. The great black heart of the cabin went dead. The thermometer read 31 degrees. By sunset, it read 17. Lena wore everything she owned: wool base layers, 2 sweaters, a down coat, snow pants, a hat pulled low, 2 pairs of socks, inside boots that still felt like blocks of ice. It did not matter. The cold entered differently when there was no fire to argue with it. It slipped through fabric and skin and thought. It made small tasks absurd. Opening a wrapper became a project. Turning a doorknob hurt. Her phone was useless. The landline gave only an empty click. The water in the stock pot began to skin with ice. The olive oil clouded and hardened. The inside of the window glittered with frost so thick it looked carved. Lena paced because she knew sitting down was dangerous, but pacing became shuffling. Shuffling became standing with her hands under her arms, staring at the broken stove. This was how it ended, her mind told her, not dramatically, not with justice, just one bad decision after another, until a woman who used to draw heated floors for rich clients froze beside a stove she could not use. Her thoughts slowed. Boston came back in pieces: a conference room, a signature, her fiancé's coat on the back of a chair, the way he had said, "You're overreacting," while she looked at a debt with her name on it. He still got warm rooms. He still got working lights. He still got to become a story people argued over. And she would become a report. Female, 36, found deceased after storm. No, she whispered. The word was so small the room nearly swallowed it. She turned away from the stove and stumbled. Her boot caught the raised edge of the hearth. She fell forward, hands striking the slate wall she had built in anger, and froze. Not from cold, from heat. Her palms, even through glove leather, felt it. She tore one glove off with her teeth and pressed bare skin to the stone. The slate was still hot. Not stove hot, not surface warm, deep hot. The kind of heat that did not flare, did not flash, did not ask for air. It sat inside the wall with a slow, massive patience, pushing back against the frozen room. Lena pressed her cheek to the stone and made a sound that was almost grief. All those weeks, all those fires, all that heat the wall had stolen. It had not vanished. It had been waiting. Elias had been right about the wall taking her warmth. He had been wrong about what that meant. The stone had charged for weeks, and for the last frantic day, while the stove burned too hot and too hard, the slate and granite had absorbed more heat than she could have imagined. Now the stove was dead, the cabin air was falling toward zero, and the wall was giving the heat back, because physics did not care who deserved saving. It only moved from where heat was to where heat was not. And Lena was not dead yet. The thought brought her body back. She dragged the mattress down from the loft, falling twice on the ladder. She shoved it across the floor until it lay tight against the stone wall. Then she pulled down every blanket she owned: wool army blankets, a torn moving pad, a blue tarp, the quilt from the kitchen doorway. She overturned the dining table and wedged it 3 feet from the wall, then draped the blankets from the rafters over the tabletop, making a low, slanted roof. She sealed the ends with duffel bags, firewood, and boxes of canned food. She crawled in with a flashlight, a bottle of half-frozen water, and the radio. The space was no bigger than a coffin laid on its side, but it held the wall. At first, she could still see her breath. Then the air changed. 10 minutes. 20. The violent drafts could not reach her. The cold room sat outside the blankets, But inside the little shelter, the only large thing in command was the stone. The temperature climbed from 21 to 34, then to 40. By midnight, while the nor'easter roared hard enough to shake snow from the rafters, the inside of Lena's tarp shelter reached 48 degrees. She unzipped her coat, then she took off her hat. She lay on the mattress with her spine pressed against the slate and felt the heat come through the layers into her back, her hips, her ribs. It was not comfort, not exactly. It was permission to keep living. For the next 30 hours, her world narrowed to that small, dark triangle. The storm beat the cabin until the tin roof buckled and snapped. Something heavy hit the porch and stayed there. The radio faded in and out with warnings, closures, impossible roads. Lena dozed in broken pieces. Every time she woke, she touched the stone. Hot became warm. Warm became lukewarm. Lukewarm became a stubborn pulse. By the second morning, the shelter had fallen to 37 degrees. Miserable, dangerous, but above freezing. Outside the blankets, the cabin had surrendered. The floorboards were white with frost. A bucket of water had frozen solid. The toilet tank had cracked from expanding ice. The broken stove sat open and black, its back plate split like a wound. But the wall still held one last edge of warmth, enough for blood, enough for breath, enough for morning. On December 21st, when the wind finally stopped, the silence woke her more sharply than the storm had. Lena opened the blanket flap. Cold hit her face so hard her eyes watered. Sunlight poured through the frozen windows, white and merciless. The room looked abandoned by humans and claimed by winter. Then she heard an engine, faint at first, then closer. She crawled out, stiff and dizzy, and stood with one hand against the stone wall. 2 snowmobiles came over the ridge through a tunnel of blown snow. Elias was on the first machine, hunched low behind the windshield. A county rescue deputy followed, red light flashing weakly in the pale day. They stopped at the porch. Elias killed the engine and stared at the chimney. No smoke. His face changed. He did not knock. He shouldered through the door with the deputy behind him, bringing a wave of snow across the floor. "Lena!" She tried to answer, but her voice broke. The deputy's flashlight swept the room. Broken stove, frozen floor, dead hearth. Then the beam caught the strange pile of blankets against the slate wall. The blankets moved. Elias went still. Lena pushed herself upright from the shelter, wrapped in a quilt, hair tangled, face gray with soot. "You're letting all the cold in," she rasped. For a moment, neither man moved. Then Elias crossed the room and grabbed her shoulders with both hands. "How in the name of mercy are you alive?" Lena looked back at the wall. "I paid the heat ahead of time." Elias turned. Slowly, he pulled off one glove and pressed his bare palm to the slate. The surface was barely warm now, but in that frozen room, it was unmistakable. A deep residual warmth remained inside the rock, refusing to disappear. He looked at the split stove. He looked at the mattress, the tarp, the blankets, the sealed little shelter. And the old man who had told her the wall was wrong began to understand. "It took the heat," he said. Lena nodded, "and gave it back." The deputy wrapped her in a foil blanket and called in an evacuation sled. Elias stayed beside the wall, his hand still on the stone, as if apologizing to something older than him. When they helped Lena outside, the world was blinding. The truck was buried to its mirrors. Spruce trees lay snapped in the drift. The porch roof had partly collapsed under a fallen limb. The storm had erased the road completely. Lena looked back once. The stove had failed. The walls had iced over. The cabin itself looked small and beaten under the snow. But the slate wall stood in the center of it all, dark and rough and immovable. She had built it because she wanted a barrier, because she wanted something no one could cheat, charm, or sign away. She had thought it was there to keep the world out. But the wall had done something better. It had remembered every fire she gave it. And when everything else went cold, it gave that warmth back. Lena Ward went into the North Woods to build a wall no one could get through. In the end, the thing that saved her was not what the wall kept out. It was what the wall kept inside.